From time to time, we highlight local businesses here on NCTV. This week, we visit a Lafayette business where you have hundreds of options if you want to get a picture framed.
Well, I kind of stumbled into it. I was actually an interior designer and a paper hanger. I love the paper hanging part. I love the physical work. But my neighbor, Mr. Paul Wilson, got sick. And a lot of people around here remember Paul, and he framed a lot of things for a lot of people. But Miss Elizabeth called, and she's like, do you know anyone that can do any framing? I'm like, no, I don't. But I tell you what, I'm crafty. I'll come over, and we'll figure it out. So that Christmas, with Mr. Wilson in the hospital talking on the phone, he talked me through about 15 orders, and we got them framed, and I fell in love with it. And I started working part-time with him, and I worked with him about 4 years. And when he got unable just to work at all, he offered all of his equipment and everything. He said, you know, I'm going to offer it to you first. And I talked it over with one of my daughters, and I was like, why don't we do this, go into business? So we bought a chopper, a saw, and a couple of pieces of mat board, and we went into business. And so that's how I got into it. And it's just been an incredible journey. 15 years later, this is what we've accumulated.
How long have you been in this building?
We've been in this building now 14 years. Well, we're going on 14 years.
Did you ever think it would last this long? Did you think that you'd be able to stay in business because Lafayette is a small town, but yet here you are 14 years later?
You know, I never really looked at it like a business. It's always been a passion. It's always been, I love what I do. And we don't just do framing. It's whatever my heart desires. It's my studio. It's, you know, I don't just do framing. Framing is my bread and butter. Mm-hmm. It pays the bills, puts a little spending money in my pocket. But most artists, you tend to veer off. And right now, we're into sculpting. And so we have sculpture going on. And I have two friends, and we've got, if you want to film it later, we have our sculpture on display and for sale. But we're having a really, really good time with this sculpting. Mm-hmm. And so I've never really looked at it as a job.
Well, as far as the framing part is concerned, what about framing do you enjoy after all these years?
There's still a lot of creativity to custom framing. It's not, you don't just bring it in, and most of the things I do, it's not just put a picture in a frame. I do a lot of graduation, wedding, and stuff that is. But a lot of what I do is what they call memorabilia. Mm-hmm. You know, it's grandma's handkerchiefs and her necklace and a picture of grandma, or it's the baby outfit, what you brought your baby home in. I do a lot of Army medals and things like that. There's a lot of things on the wall just to give you ideals. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of creativity, and I really enjoy that part. Just put it in a picture frame, that's a job. Yeah. You know, that's get it done, let's get it out so I can get to what I like to do.
When did you decide you wanted to do more than just framing actually inside this store?
When we bought the store, when we moved down here, it was like, we moved in, like I said, we bought a chopper, a saw, a few tables, and a mat cutter. And in the small building, that worked. Mm-hmm. When we moved into this building, and we've got 4,500 square feet, it was like a little bitty puddle in the middle of the store, and I'm like, oh, we got to do a lot more. So it kind of started, and like I said, 14 years later, we're down, and it constantly changes. We're constantly trying this and, doing that. And so right now, like I said, we're also, beside the sculpting, we're doing some repurposing furniture and stuff. I know everybody's doing that, but we do have some of that. And I don't know, it's just fun.
Keeps you busy for sure, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I stay busy. I can find lots of things to be busy.
Now, have you had a lot of interest yet from the people in the community who as far as wanting to learn how to be sculptors, I suppose? Do the ones who are at least doing this, are they enjoying it?
Well, we're not giving lessons because we're still in the process of learning ourselves. Okay. It's the three of us creating sculpture. So now we do get classes together from Miss Linda Johnson. So if someone is interested, In doing a sculpting class and we can get enough together, Miss Linda will come in and she will give you, she'll do a class for us, and I'll sit in on it and learn a little more.
Well, now, did you actually, when you first decided to buy this business, did you decide maybe to go to school a little bit, maybe learn a little more about framing other than what you'd already learned?
Oh, yeah. Whenever we bought the equipment and everything, Mr. Wilson was a very fine framer. But I did take some courses, and I did some things online, and got a lot of books, read a lot about framing. I sell just about anything you want, and if I don't have it, I can find it for you. And then we do a lot of ready-mades that I have in stock where you can come in and we can pop the picture in and you can walk out with it.
Okay.
So we do that too.
Do you notice when you have customers that come in, do you ever have conversations about where they're from? Do you have out of town, maybe even out of state customers sometimes?
Oh, I have a lot of out-of-town people that come in. I have people from Sparta, in Murfreesboro, Gallatin, Nashville. I have a lot of out-of-town customers that have found us. And what's really funny is someone that lives right here in Lafayette will walk in. I've been here 14 years, and they'll go, "I didn't know you were here." So I guess I'm the best kept secret in Lafayette.
Well, it's obviously that must be the case. Talk about just as far as just the work that's involved in framing something. Is it a fairly quick process, or does it take a while? You tell me.
To actually build a frame from scratch, I do set my corners. Each corner sits in a vise, glued, for at least 15 to 20 minutes. So to make that frame, from the time I cut it to the time I finish it, you're going to have, 20, 40, 60, a little about an hour and a half, okay, into actually making the frame. Now, then you've got to cut the glass, and the mat cutting, and if you're doing something memorabilia, sometimes I'll spend all day on one custom job. I will literally take all day laying it out and making it look what I think my customer wants.
Do you ever get feedback from your customers after they have bought something from you and after you've put it together?
Oh, yeah, we get, as far as I know, I've never had anyone that was unhappy. They've never told me. I've had a lot of people, tell me that they love it. And I have people that I framed for 10 years ago that will come in and say, "Oh, that piece you did for me is still hanging on my wall and I still love it." And that, that's worth something.
Sure it is.
It is, so.
Do you see yourself owning this business until you retire?
Probably. The right person comes along, someone I think would pick it up and run with it, I probably would sell it because I'm getting close to retirement. But right now, I'll probably be here till I decide to close her down if someone doesn't buy it,
Frame It Art and Gift Gallery is located just off the public square in Lafayette at 102 Church Street. It's open Wednesday through Saturday. Reporting in Lafayette, Barry Hiett, NCTV.